It really is. Like, it's got to hurt a little bit. So, watching that key get crushed, we've seen videos of it, we've seen people react, and it's one of those things. But we've got something a little bit special in this place. We're getting into draft, but as we're here, we actually have TK. He is the owner of GAM coming in, joining us for a little bit of this draft just to talk about GAM and how he's doing here. TK, welcome, brother.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you guys for having us. We were so close. I was believing.
So close.
Come on, guys. For a second there, I thought all of our dreams were going to come true. My dreams were going to come true. It was 4-0 against the champs, T1 with the one and only Faker. And you know what? We got first blood. My man Gloryy, our new mid laner.
Gloryy.
Come on. Solo kill with the Faker. The one and only, the GOAT, a.k.a. Faker. My gosh.
That's the scariest thing. Now, TK, while we're getting into these picks and bans, right, we're going to talk through this while we just have some chats, but talk to us through, how's GAM feeling? Are they looking good? Are they feeling good? It was a rough start, but walk us through the players' mentality.
No, they actually feel even more confident after their performance. So they're super excited to be here. First of all, we're just happy to be back here at EWC. We were fortunate enough to compete last year and represent the LCP, and then this year to qualify once again. And more importantly, we were able to qualify and become a club partner. So one of 40 club partners, one of few from Southeast Asia, the only one representing Vietnam, baby. So we're excited to be here as always.
We take an LCP representatives, baby. That's my region.
I am definitely feeling a little outnumbered here. I'm talking about LCP. I'm going to back my boys MKOI here and see how they do it again. Nocturne versus that Ezreal on the other side. Again, it's super back on that Ezreal. That's a little bit scary. Should be a fun draft nonetheless. Draktharr picking up that Nocturne, which, you know, considering the history of GAM and Nocturne in general, I feel like MKOI might have to be nervous just on a historical level there.
So you guys didn't hear our captain Levy, who's been with us for 10 years.
That's incredible.
Hired this year. And this year we got my man Draktharr, some young talent coming in to represent and hopefully hold it down for GAM.
Well, that's the best part as well. LCP is such a new region too that's just coming to the block. It's the second year it's been around, but now we're starting to see these teams that they're getting fresh faces. It's the fresh hands coming in, and now they're starting to make some waves. So we're expecting them to start popping off as the years come through too. But now we're seeing more in the draft as well.
Syndra, let's go.
The Syndra, but we'll change it
We're
up.
having some fun with it. And again, the Camille's back in as well. Camille Nocturne's kind of fun. The Camille in general has been crazy. And Taki is no stranger to some of those crazier support picks. I've been watching this guy for a long time, and he is not a coward, shall we say?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But with the Lee Sin being locked in, it's been one of the most aggressive picks we've seen all day long, so it's going to be a bit of a tall order for Draktharr, but you know what? I'm not worried about it. We've seen him perform before, especially with the Nocturne. You can stop a little bit more with that shield, but you've got the Camille, you've got the Orianna. That is one of these specialties in LCP. Is the Orianna Nocturne combo. It is the playmaker, and it's always banned out. We have not seen it once.
It's been pretty crazy on that front. And again, the other side of this, of course, is like just outside the game. The fans have turned up today. MKOI was super loud earlier. I've seen you guys bring all of your drums here as well. I feel like you guys done so much out of the games. I've been hearing about watch parties and crazy collaborations to really make the most of this.
It's been exciting. I mean, first of all, we're doing a watch party right now in Ho Chi Minh City with Gen G at one of the top nightclubs in the world, 68 top 100. And it's been amazing to see that. We're trying to change it up, you know. Usually you're doing watch parties at PC Bangs, but we wanted to do it something different. Level it up, change the game a bit. We're doing it at a nightclub. So we had dancers come out, rocking our GAM jerseys. That was awesome to see.
Wait, who are those dancers, though? Because a lot of people might know who they are. I won't spoil it, but who are they?
We also collaborated today with the world-famous Jabberwockies.
Oh, that's so
mental.
I mean, it's something that we're crossing different cultures from music, dance, and gaming. So it's been great. So if you guys haven't had a chance, check that out. It's on the Jabberwockies page, or they're on all their social media. So we're super excited to kind of build the movement together and represent globally.
It's one thing I know GAM has done such an incredible job of is just start pushing the boundaries of esports. It's not just about the game anymore, it's about the people in the game, and that is the next level that we love to see. But now we're getting through the final ban phase here, Initialized, and we're seeing some interesting one. The Ziggs in the vein, that maybe they saw a little bit of Lion in the last one and said, oh, maybe we'll just get rid of it just in case. But now we're entering into it. The Calm has been taken out, so it's a nice pick that you usually pair with the Ezreal. What else would you put down there?
I mean, the thing is, obviously, with that Shangon as well, it's another one of those potential global options they could have gone towards, but we've seen the Leona be so annoying today. If you guys weren't watching the G2 game from a little earlier, that Labrov Leona refused to die. It is getting very, very annoying on that front. Seeing exactly what Artemis wants to lock in. Few options here. Again, you've already got a very strong dive comp. they're kind of hovering through a few. The Jhin would make sense to follow up. It's kind of been one of those picks that, depending on which analyst you're talking to, the Jhin is either loved or somewhat maligned, and it will get locked in here for Artemis.
TK, you're now an analyst with us here.
Yeah, you have to know what you're talking
What do you think about the Jhin?
So, Jhin, I mean, you know, if you guys didn't know, Artemis is Mr. Pentakill. So, you know, if we could get some, you know, some action in there, I'm very confident my man Artemis will...
The easy thing there as well there, TK, is Jhin only needs 4 kills for it to technically be a pentakill. He's only got the 4 shots, so it's like you're pretty safe there too.
Hey,
so it's a little
I'm
bit
learning
easier.
right now too on the spot, guys.
we did throw him on the spot here, but it's been great to have you come on and just be so passionate about your org and everything going on here in general, which is really, really awesome. It's this ability to bring everything together that makes what EWC really so special. Last pick here for MKOI to try and round out their draft. They've got a pretty heavy dive draft themselves. The Galio Leona just needs a little bit of something to really finish up the kills, and the Ambessa would do just that.
Yeah, look, Fearless as well. So now these champions are played. They're no longer be able to pick up, so it's going to be a little bit harder as the champions are going to be moving through this best of 3. But TK, I think we're just going to thank you there. And go enjoy the games. We look forward to hearing those drums. Mate, take it easy and best of luck here today, my brother.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Fantastic.
Have some fun. See you guys.
Well,
that's fun.
It's now just us.
I know. I feel lonely already.
I do a little bit too. He's just got such a warmth about him, is the best part. And now I feel a little bit cold. But you know what? You're quite warm. We did have a nice little hug
It was very nice.
But now,
very not again. Not really sure what to go with that, to be honest.
You want another hug? But no, we don't worry about it. But still, now we're getting in. Let's look at these team comps and let's just break it down a little bit. Is there anyone that you're favoring a little bit more?
Well, I'm looking at both these comps, and once again, it is full contact team fighting from both teams. We are going in. Everyone is diving. Nocturne, Camille on one side with a Galio, Ambessa, Leona. One's a little tankier, one's a little burstier. But the end result will be whose backline dies quickest.
Yeah, okay. That's always a fun question because you never really know until you get into the game itself. So which backline wins quickest? I do actually think MKOI's got a good-looking team here. I think the Ambessa being sitting on top of there with the Galio too, you can get to that backline, get that hero's entrance, and it's going to start a lot of things. But at the same time, you mentioned that Camille. The second that Hextech ultimatum goes down, there's going to be a paranoia. The lights go out, and what can MKOI do? Sadly, fish can only see so far in water.
Oh, very good, very good. And then the other side of this, though, is that if you go first, the problem is the counterpunch with a lot of these ultimates are very, very scary. Like, you overplay with the Nocturne, and suddenly there's a Galio ult coming in. You go in with a pause, and we have to sit here and talk a bit longer, is what we're going to have to do.
But we love talking. That's the best part.
Almost like it's our job or something. So they tell me. So they tell me.
All right, well, let's go lane by lane then. Let's look at this. This bot lane is probably the more volatile one where it is going to be very aggressive, especially with that Camille. Talk to me about how these two lanes want to make, these two competitors want to be playing.
So the honest answer is in the current meta, and shout out to Jaman for this, did a fantastic video breakdown of it, which I highly suggest you keep an eye on, but he was chatting about catch-up XP and supports. Because basically, 8 minutes hit and catch-up XP turns on in a really big way. And that means that for a lot of these roaming supports, Camille, Leona, they can hit level 3 and go, cool, my work here is done, and leave. And then they will join their junglers, they will join their laners and try and make plays. And once 8 minutes happen, kind of around that grub timing, you can look to really ramp up that XP again and kind of be okay about dropping the early levels and make plays elsewhere. And that's partly why things like the Camille have been so incredibly strong. And we've been sort of like going back through the history books a little bit of late and going, do you remember when Camille was playing in the jungle? Do you remember why she was really strong?
Yeah, got a Tiamat as well. Just hard cleared incredibly fast and was able to just go anywhere so quickly. It was like when Wukong, before Wukong was able to jump over walls, very similar thing. But yeah, Camille in the jungle was fierce.
Yeah, but because basically you could go, well, I kill a Scuttle Crab and a red buff, and that's it, and I'm good. And then you can hook shot into a lane and basically just gank. And again, now you don't even have to clear. You just play it as support and get the same kind of value. And I exaggerate a little, but there's definitely some truth to that. And one of the big questions that's been asked in a lot of drafts of late is, okay, what do you do about the Camille? Because originally it was the Bard, and now it feels like, well, maybe the Bard has a bad time with the Camille because you put the Hextech ultimatum down and the Bard can't escape with the magical journey. And he goes, and that's made things a little bit more interesting, and that's why things like the Talia bot into that. The Poppy is a potential answer. I've started to see a little bit more play as well again. But that does make this quite spicy in terms of we've got ourselves a Jhin and an Ezreal who are very self-sufficient.
Yeah. You
don't have to play for that duo. You can. Good setup on the Jhin W. Ezreal Leona years ago was a great duo because the Sunlight passive on Leona, you proc it so easy with all your Qs. It's very, very easy for Ezreal to proc every one of those. But the other hand is they can just sit there and go, cool, I will see you later, supports. Let's go play around things like that Ambessa or that Nocturne in the enemy jungle, which could get quite spicy. Extended rant, but that's kind of what we get to do on these pauses.
Look, and I love a little bit of spice in my gameplay. That's one of the best parts of League of Legends is every single game, very different, always changes up. But these teams and with the drafts that we're starting to see, and now that we head towards more best of threes, we're going to start to see a little bit more evolution in how these teams will be playing. We might see some more majors coming back in. It's nice that we're still getting like your Jhins and your Ezreals. We know that they're quite strong, but I'm curious to see when we get to like the Mel's with the Pikes, when we get to see a little bit more of those Ziggs down the bot lane. We've seen Sintrus, we've seen Cassiopeias. When can we see a little bit more of that?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? There on screen as well, you just saw one of those very pretty golden keys. Oh. Theoretically, you win this, and that key gets slotted into the trophy, where it says everything is earned and nothing is given. The problem is, if you lose, you are giving that key up to your opponents, and then they take it to a big pneumatic drill, and they crush it. They break it in front of your eyes. It is one of the most brutal things in esports. And at the end of the day, reminder for the people that win this, all the way to the end, you kind of win the whole EWC League of Legends tournament. You get to choose some keys to put on your trophy. And you go, you know what, I beat you. You know that thing I crushed? Yeah, you're going to be on my trophy forever.
Yeah, you know what? And choosing who you'd want on there would just be absolutely demoralizing to some degree.
It's horrific.
It would hurt, because if you pick a team, you're like, that's the scary stuff that I would be fearing. But we are still, this is the lower brackets of this team, so there's already a fight level 1. Not too much will be spoken of it. It's just, they're going to get caught out. They're just going to walk away.
Does mean that Jhin has started with a W, not the end of the world. And again, they've gone towards the Doran's Helm tech. You'll note as well, you can see the inspiration secondary on the Jhin, because it means you get towards things like Jack of all trades. Because it means you get more stats, because you've got Doran's Helm. So those defensive stats you don't always build as an AD carry, well, you can cheat him in there with Doran's Helm, so you get more value from that. Level 1, those more aggression. Alvaro has been left a little worse for wear.
Yeah, just an Ignite being used there as well. It's not the end of the world too, but this is going to be a big struggle for Leona very early on. But they're going to get that level 2 first, so it's a little bit of safety. That is the Leona, obviously. Alvaro's going to be like, oh, let's dive. We dive this, right? Level 2, we dive. But no, it's a Camille still. We'll be able to get those slingshots and be able to do a little bit more. So I feel like they're going to be a little bit more careful until items come online.
And tell you what, let's do a little bit of a look into GAMs. We've seen MKOI on the stream already, and don't worry, we'll come back to them. They're a great team from EU. Did a fantastic job of showing up against BLG, even if it was the loss. Now, again, Jojo and Supa, great showing, but GAM is a team that I think people who have been long-term fans of League of Legends will remember very fondly. From back in the day, and some of these names you might remember. Artemis, Taki, Kiaya have been stalwarts of the Vietnamese region, now LCP since then, but Draktharr, Gloryy, a little newer, right?
Look, Draktharr was actually like the star headliner for GAM in the last split. Like, they were the best player, in my opinion. They came in and just showed up at Gloryy, having their nice little run here, and has to flash early. Is the Jojo just going hard here. And an early setback might have to burn the TP just to be able to recover a little bit of that tempo. Yeah,
exactly. We'll keep an eye on it again. It's the Orianna, one of those champions that has basically been perma-pick banned forever now, it feels like, and there's been some nerfs to the laning phase in particular, and that's when we've seen a little bit more of it, but we'll see how it works in the Gloryy.
Yeah, and I think back on that sort of GAM train, right, is I want to talk about this team as one that actually has started to find that strong success. They are starting to make these good moves. They are able to make their sort of plays in the league. They are in like that upper top 4. So to see them come into EWC and start to show a little bit more of that international presence and also get that practice. It's so important for LCP teams to start versing other regions. There's a nice little fight down in the spot side. Artemis not too worried, and Alvaro is just going to walk away scot-free, but Supa is quite low.
Yeah, he is, and again, you've got to be a little bit careful there, because one of the things that you can run into in the bot lane is like, I have chunked out the enemy support. Yeah, but I've chunked out your AD carry. Which one's more important? Turns out the AD carry often is the end result of that, and it gets a little bit spicy. As it stands, a relatively even early game, kind of scaling up here. There's a little bit of play happening. That's dangerous. In goes Taki. Ooh,
that's not going to be enough, as they're going to have to push back a little bit more. As, Taki is being in for it, but no Artemis, no health, no mana. Flashes go forward.
Nice.
Zero first blood heading over for MKOI. Supa very happy, but Taki with a return kill.
At least gets something back. You burn pretty much every summoner there. Artemis holds onto the flash, but not his life. Elyoya is topside though, and the Rumble might be a little over-pushed here. Does he end up face-checking the the Lee Sin? Kind of does. It's a bit of damage, but it won't be too much more to talk about right now.
It's good to not get a little bit overcooked as Rumble in this situation.
That's the wrong video game.
Yeah, that's right. But you're getting this early push. That is the Rumble specialty. Once you start using that flamethrower, you are going to be burning through these waves. So Myrwn, very happy to be sitting back a little bit more, just farming up underneath their tower until they get to these big team fights where we will see Myrwn running to the back line. And just diving the back line.
And again, look, you've got Lee Sin, Leona, Galio versus Nocturne, Ori combo with a Camille rather going in. There isn't a lot of what's the word? Non-committal engage here.
Yeah.
When you go, you go.
Yeah.
And that means that when we do get to these team fights, I'm expecting them to be very bloody. And people like Supa, people like Artemis are going to have to pick their positioning very, very carefully. It'll be true of Gloryy as well on this Orianna. You get locked down, it's probably lights out.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Clockwork Lady, it can be a little bit rough, as when you can't tell the time anymore, it's usually a grey screen. But still, we're waiting for it. We're waiting for level 6. That's literally what we're doing here in Initialize. Both teams want to get level 6. They want to be making moves across the map. I think the only one that we should have seen a little bit more in this early game was Elyoya on this Lee Sin. They should have tried to get something, even a couple little early ganks. But at the end of the day, now they're looking at a dragon.
And they'll be happy enough with that one just fine. I mean, the other side of this, of course, is then sometimes things like the Nocturne could do a lot of stuff at the level 1. A lot of our LCK, LPL junglers love the Nocturne for the level 1 power. People think of Nocturne as that level 6, that ultimate jungler. But you're level 1. If you fight someone on the Raptors, Nocturne is actually good in the duels early.
Yeah.
His issue is he has no gap close until 6.
Yes.
If you're fighting over a camp, then, well, you're in melee range of him, which is a really bad time. Should get 6 off this scuttle crab here. We'll see how aggressive the play is. We'll get a little of this replay here as this is a wonderful Christopher Nolan cut of our bot lane play. It was spicy.
I've been looking at Steven Spielberg for a long time, and he couldn't do anything as good as this. As we are seeing the nice pickups there, and you can just see the lockdown was good. They spent everything, but that's the sort of aggression we want
Where's
to see.
the John Williams soundtrack? Like EWC production? Can we hire him? But just for that moment, I'd love like an equivalent of a Star Wars theme. Just go over that.
That would be pretty cool.
It'd be pretty cool.
We should just get some like, we're looking for another fight anyway.
Yeah.
Super being jumped on. It's a lot of damage. Ignite ticks.
Beautiful.
And the final shot, Artemis takes it all the way home. Now Alvaro just looking to take a little bit more, but does get back to tower.
He's named after the goddess of the hunt, and he ain't missing, is he? Artemis gets some vengeance, and suddenly this bot lane looks a bit spicy. And again, reminder, Supa just came off a game against BLG, where his Ezreal looked genuinely lethal. It's not what you want to see. Again, it's not a game-breaking lead, but suddenly GAM feeling a bit more potent. And again, they just push T1. Again, it's T1. We know they can be a little fractious in the early game. They don't exactly say no to a fight, do they? But still, they aren't shy in the early game.
Down but never out is a T1 sort of quote, I would say.
That's fair.
But still, GAM have a lot of work to do still.
That they do. Yoy is now mid lane alongside Alvaro on the reset. Gloryy!
For some of that.
Oh, no!
Oh, getting caught still. The taunt is good. 3 members, but Gloryy is able to stay steady.
That he is. So, gets away with it, doesn't die. I can see in the inventory as well that the Ruby Crystal is in, likely going to go for the Rower build, and I know some people get a bit dodgy about that one, kind of prefer things like the Ludens. For me, in a game like this, when you've got things like the Ambessa and the Lee Sin and the Galio jumping for you, frankly, the extra HP is just straight value, because it's all well and good having damage, but you never get to use it in a comp like this otherwise. Play into the mid lane, Taki just about misses that hook shot.
It's also that scaling, right? Is you need to be able to get to this late game where you will have a Galio you're up against, so you need to be a little bit strong and hold your own. So going for a burst build on Orianna just doesn't make sense. So I love the Rower.
So, 6 is largely on through. We can see the builds coming on in. No full items yet, but some of those completions in there. Kiaya has picked up those steel caps. Again, you're into a Lee Sin, you're into an Ambessa. Makes a lot of sense. And again, for the likes of Myrwn, going for the early Hex Drink into double AP solo lane is all well and good. We are heading towards Grubs, though. Nocturne throws down the Paranoia. Out comes the Deadly Flourish. The curtains are called, and that looks like a very dead Supa, who ain't looking particularly super heroic here. No Galio called either. Onto the Grubs we look. Yoya gonna have to jump out to Alvaro, flash it out the back of the pit.
Look, and that was such a good pick. Just sadly, it was Supa caught out, could not handle the fire, and they thought the rest of the team might come in, but that's the Paranoia power. You can just jump from a mile away.
And again, now you're down that flash and Alvaro. Not necessarily the end of the world, but could be something to keep our eyes on as we head towards the Chem Dragon spawning in a couple of minutes. MKOI already got that early dragon pretty swiftly, and they would like to build towards a soul if they can help it.
big thing to note here as well is it was still KOI getting one of those Void Grubs, so it isn't going to be GAM be able to get the full passive, get the Grub mites coming out all the time. So that's a really nice pickup there, and just to deny a full objective and just giving them only a taste of the objective.
Potential look at Gloryy again, but speeds himself away with the command distance. Alvaro was there with the Hex Flash, it may be noted. So again, perhaps a little less worried about the Flash being down than in another build on the Leona. I will also note, of course, that we are looking at a game with a Camille in, and last time we saw Supa play this Ezreal, he was really hard to lock down. This time I'm looking at Nocturne, I'm looking at Camille. How easy is it going to be for Supa, especially if he, for whatever reason, loses a Flash, to keep his head?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not super fun to lose your head, unfortunately.
So they tell me.
Yeah, look, I'm not a cockroach after all. I'm not going to live for a couple of weeks at an end, but still.
I nearly made a very mean comment there, but we'll hold on that one.
No, well, about cockroaches?
That's the one.
We won't worry about it. Cockroaches are pretty cool. But still, now we've got a little bit of a fight up this top side. Kiaya doing a good job now. There's, again, another player that has always had a strong presence. They know how to command a top lane. They also know how to concede a top lane. And that's a really big strategy and a thing for good players.
Okay, so eyes on the top left corner of your screen, you will see it's 40 seconds till the Chem Dragon is spawning. Likely going to start seeing some setups. I'll note there's a couple pretty good MKOI wards just over by that red buff kind of, behind the red buff pit there, and in that kind of passageway between mid and Raptors. Maybe an angle for something like a teleport from Myrwn or from Jojo. We'll see exactly how aggressively either team wants to contest this.
Big thing, we just saw Alvaro just getting that level 6, so Solar Flare is online. This is going to be a big playmaker as this dragon spawns in 10 seconds. You've got to be wary of these cooldowns.
Oh, yes. Pretty much every ultimate is up and available. The one flash missing will be Alvaro's, as we noted. Otherwise, all lights go first items pretty much in for people like Draktharr and Artemis as well. This should be spicy.
Yeah, and getting those cooldowns with that Hexblade too is going to be so handy as these team fights go. You sacrifice a little bit of that damage, but now Dragon's being started. It is GAM taking that first fight, but now TP's coming in, slowing it down.
That they are. GAM pulling away, I think, here. I'm not sure whether they're going to get the contest. Drakthar's here, does have the paranoia, could theoretically pull the trigger. They've got that ward in the river, so I think this might be an attempt at a steal.
The steal could be the play. Yeah, they have that one ward. It hasn't been spotted out. They know where they are. They're just going to break up the team. Looking for it. It's stolen away. The Chemtech locked in. Now the heroes are trying to do a little bit more. Elyoya cannot handle it. It's just too much as GAM are taking control. Jojo getting locked up to Alvaro as well. Curtain call lands. Flashes upon flashes. It's too much.
It really is. Taki jumps over the wall and Jojo went in with the hero's entrance and hit nothing. It was so close, but now they lose the dragon. They lose the fight. MKOI now find themselves in a precarious position, only down the 1,000 gold, but that win condition of the Dragon Soul, a significant step away.
Oh, look, and now that we're seeing what soul it is, it's a mountain. It's going to be mountainous for either of these teams, especially MKOI. Look at a Galio with a mountain. Ambessa, the shields are massive.
Look, they tried to make the play onto the flank. They tried to jump onto Artemis, just didn't quite get the confirmation. Jojo only gets a knock up on Gloryy. They do eventually bring down Draktharr here, so it does become, I want to say a 2-for-1. I'll need to double check that one again in a second. The curtains getting called made it a little bit spicy, but the problem is you lost the dragon as well, and that's so frustrating. And again, Nocturne, Orianna, is such a deadly combination, especially if you get snowballed. Both press R, and whoever gets jumped on has a very bad day.
That's it, and it's honestly just an honor to see the Orianna Nocturne because we didn't get to see it ever in LCP. No. It was always banned, no matter what. Every game, 100%.
And one of the things right at MSI was we did get to see it, and it didn't execute every time. We saw people drafting things like the Akali in there, drafting things like the Lee Sin and saying, look, I'm so mobile that you might be able to get one person with this, maybe, but then the problem is the extended fights got really tricky. There was never any true wombo combo clump, and with the nerfs, particularly to Orianna and her laning phase, it feels like she's just not as oppressive as she once was, because at one point, she could just walk at you and auto, and you would lose every lane, and that's not quite as oppressive as it once was, and I think teams are still figuring out exactly how dangerous the Orianna is. She still feels like she's good, but is she first pick, first ban worthy?
Yeah, I guess maybe not. Taki being able to just dodge that Zenith bait very nicely, just timing it quite well, but we're starting to see some more items across the board, and I'm looking at a Hex Drinker up there. Myrwn is just saying, I can't handle this rumble, and that's already a big disadvantage for a top laner.
Well, he's also into the Orianna as the other laner, so it's like, look, you know what? Ambessa likes it anyway. Bit more, the lifelink passive feels good. You can stop up for it and not feel too bad about it. And again, you are into Rumble, who is just notoriously a very obnoxious laner. Speaking of laners like Orianna, who have been kind of meta warping for a while and very regularly banned. Again, with something of a change going into MSI, seeing the Rumble not banned in the first phase every game. So that's something to keep our eyes on as well. I think if we do get into these team fights and the Orianna and the Rumble get to hit ults on multiple members, MKOI might be having a tougher time. That said, you've got the Lee Sin, you've got the Ezreal. Galio's going to be pretty tanky as well. Catching a big clump, I don't know how simple that will be.
No, I think it's about catching them in these alleyways, catching them in the jungle, looking for those little fights, and that's where the Nocturne is going to be so powerful. If they have the deep vision that is not necessarily caught on a sweeper, is critical for how a Nocturne can play. With a Rift Herald coming up.
You know what? Sometimes your co-caster knows exactly what's on your mind. Very good there. Appreciate your Pike. Unfortunately, your namesake's not in the game. We saw Vampire pulling that one earlier for JDG and looking pretty spicy on it. Always good to see my LPL boys performing as well. Split loyalties here at EWC from myself, it must be said. But we are going to see exactly how much of a contest we get around this. GAM fighting over the Skullcrab. This gets spicy. The Paranoia is here. Deadly Flurry. What happens is Supa blows up the Camille. The turnaround, though. The shockwave. Kiaya's here as well. The hero's entrance comes on down as it stands a 1 for no. Kiaya needs to start backing away. Health bars from MKOI, not superb, but they hold the line. They get the kill. They're still in the river.
Where did Taki go was the big question. Tried to get out.
Oh, Draktharr.
Elyoya now looking for Dragon's Rage into the Tor. Absolute cinema. The play on play. Draktharr just couldn't hold on. Rift Herald is a nice prize there as MKOI really pushing the tempo.
Look, I know you're saying it's cinema. It's supposed to be a horror movie, right? But isn't Nocturne the monster? Hang on, when was he the victim? What kind of movie is this? They jump on him, and Joya with a beautiful 1-2 with his mid laner, right? Kicks him into the shield of Durand, and it is light out. And again, the irony is not lost on me that was to the Nocturne.
And the big thing there now, gold has swung in the way of MKOI. It's a very similar game to their first one today. They're now starting to find their feet. They're pushing the tempo a bit more. Now it's on GAM to see if they can pull it back. Okay, so let's check in on exactly what we're expecting from these team comps, right? We've got 14 seconds on Dragon. If you pick up this Dragon, I think either team will be happy enough with that. The thing is, we're looking at two comps that are very mid-game focused. Yes.
You are 2 items, level 11, full send at a team fight and pray. The problem is, I think if one team falls behind, you are kind of doing what the enemy team is doing to a certain degree, right? And the problem with a comp like that is, because you're both trying to do the same thing, if one team is just doing it with more gold, you win pretty much every one of those. It's quite difficult then to come back. You then have to start to look towards like picks, good vision plays. It's a lot harder to do around the objectives, and in a game like this, it's going to be an objective fight too.
Yeah, 100%, and already it is. They got the Rift Herald, they got that last fight. It's exactly what you said. They've started to fall a little bit behind. Now MKOI can capitalize on it, start securing and start stacking these dragons. So nice to see. It is being picked up. Looking for this hook. Taki trying to land on it. Hextech ultimatum. It's just 3 on 1. There's not much you can really do. And Gloryy picks up the kill. Nicely done indeed. And again, look, if your team fight's honestly going to work, you can still play Nocturne Camille on a side lane. That's going to work out just fine. And Myrwn had very limited options there. Handled Elyoya around, but nowhere near close to turn this as Taki in the jungle looking for tactical to try to steal it. No way.
That's insult to injury, so they say.
It's not too bad to pick up a Toad if you're ever in their jungle, but it's a nice pick up. They secure first tower as well, so it's starting to flip, and the gold has flipped again. It's 500 in the way of GAM.
It's been a very back and forth game, and it feels like both teams have got some pretty heavily loaded shotguns. And when it does land, there's not a lot the aim team gets to do. A couple minutes till something like the Baron, but I think either team will probably want to wait a little bit on this. We get another look at this beautiful little cinematographic. There's a better way of phrasing that. Lots of good cinema is where we're going, and I'll think about how I phrase that probably later. Production are doing a great job. The good words in English, perhaps a little harder from me.
I know, you're doing great, mate. You're not stressed about it. It's only day one. We've got plenty more league to work on our words regardless. But still, now that we're heading into the 18-minute mark, you said the Baron is a looming threat as it is that mid-game that these teams want to start to step up. Rift Herald now summoned mid, looking to open up this mid-tier 1.
Joya gets into the Herald as well. He's got the mobility and that potential to throw out a ward hop insect-style combo, so Artemis has to back away quite wisely, I think, and they'll pick up that mid-lane turret. First of the game there for MKOI.
It's also good to pick up this at about this point because you want to have that control over the game. You want to see the map a little bit more. You can see the side lanes have already been somewhat opened up. for the side of GAM. Like, they're getting those towers, a little bit of health, maybe a couple hits here or there on this top side, but it's that mid that really flexes you through the jungle and accelerates a lot more. So you can get to places faster, like the Baron Pit or the Dragon Pit, and that's where these fights are really going to take place.
And again, Supa still leading the way in gold, having a fairly solid game here on the Ezreal. Did initially give up a couple deaths, and it's going to be tough, right? You're into Nocturne and the Camille and all those things, but if there was someone you needed with gold in this game, it probably is going to be that Ezreal. And again, MKOI's version of the dive comp is on the tankier end. They've gone for the Leona. They've gone for the Galio. That means people like the Ezreal need to do a lot of the work in terms of the kills. For the side of GAM, everyone's just bringing damage. It's what they've got.
Yeah.
The tankiness is somewhat not there. Rumbled, kind of, is Bruiser, sort of. A little bit of HP and things like the Leandris. There's some steel caps. That counts.
You got the Hexblade.
That's kind of enough. You know, it's HP.
It's something, but...
I mean, Black Cleaver's got HP. That's tank, right?
Yeah,
right?
I guess if we're getting to the nitty-gritty, if you build a Ruby Crystal, you're technically a tank, right? Like, that makes sense.
I feel like that is a statement that a lot of analysts out there are going to look at you and go, I want to, like, strangle you for the rage bait.
How do we get this guy into it? Like, you know what? We'll take a real paranoia and really take it out. But no, still, at the end of the day, we're looking at these supports right now, and it is very, very interesting that obviously the Camille's going to be the more oppressive one here. And I was going to say that is probably the main tank for this side, for GAM, is they are that big initiator. They're going to be taking a lot of that damage. And I guess they're trying to act like just a more aggressive Leona.
Yeah, and the thing is, actually, we're going to have to hold that there. There's the paranoia, the shockwave. Oh.
Just taken out. Draktharr able to pick up Jojo. A nice little kill secured. They might be looking for a little bit more as they're looking to go further. Equalizer's brilliant. Alvaro is taking a bit of heat. Curtain Call is good. Taking a lot of shots with the Solar Flare onto the backside. There's the Barrage.
Nice.
They're turning around the fight. Let's see if they can do a little bit more with it. It is
Myrwn
doing a good job. They're on the back line. Can the damage be enough? It's too much. Supa's laying out shots left, right, and center. Elyoya wants to hold on. Gloryy is able to walk forward, but it is MKOI backing off.
They just didn't have the damage. Again, Supa tried. Myrwn tries to go for the Alvaro, and he just dies before he gets it off, and GAM pull the trigger, and they just have more guns ready to bear. It comes back to bite MKOI there, who don't hold on. They lose that turret topside. 50 seconds until Dragon, and this is going to give the opportunity for GAM to reset, get out, put those wards down, and be in the river first.
It's all about those cooldowns. Once that Paranoia and the Shockwave are up and available. But the best part is, we saw the Paranoia go down. The Shockwave was there before he even landed.
Yeah, it was tough. And again, they use the Shockwave as the initiation tool. And sometimes there is an art to saying, I'm not going to pull the Nocturne Orianna combo as a combo. I'll do the Shockwave first, or I'll do the Nocturne Alphos, and then we follow up. Learning when to split that sometimes to catch people off guard, to make people flash when they shouldn't, can be a real key moment, and that was what set that one up so well. It does mean that some of those cooldowns would have been on, like if this is level 6, right, they would have been still on cooldown. They're not anymore, because you've got the Hexblade, you've got level 11, and that means you're coming in with those ready to go again. It is still going to be MKOI in the river first, though, so this gets a little bit spicier.
TP's already been used. They're going to be able to get this one down, so Gloryy wants to join this fight. It's the 5v5. They're looking for this Dragon. We'll have to see. They want to go for a little bit more.
That they do. Artemis gets the shove in mid lane, was trying to stack up that fourth shot. Still onto the Dragon, 4,000 HP. They're looking like they might give this one up. To just go for the shove in mid instead. It will be Soul Point given to MKOI and GAM. Don't pull it. On the other side, the Solar Flare is dead. The Violence is good. I will keep it as a god of the more damage. Oh my god. Leona went in, gets stunned up. The Nocturne's in and you.
That's the Curtain Call coming out. It lands its mark. Equalizer lands too. Now they can re-push in the mid. The Shockwave pulls back Jojo, but that's a big tanky Galio. It's a lot to deal with, and now they're looking for the onslaught, the siege. They want to try and take this tower, but I just don't think they have the range.
They don't, and the thing is, you got the Soul Point. I think you got what you came for, frankly.
Yep.
You get a little bit extra in terms of the kill. Alvaro, so be it. But I feel like giving Mountain Soul to a team with Leona, with Galio, when they're already a relatively close run thing is risky.
Two mountains on a Leona and a Galio, regardless. We saw how much damage Galio took. Jojo was very happy to be in the middle of that fight because they were very hard to kill. The second that second mountain drag came in, it was even worse. These shields are stacking.
They are, and again, you do eventually get that tier 1, and you've got 3 turrets to 1. That's still a good position for GAM, who are actually up 2,500 gold as well. They have got things that are working for them. Again, Drakthar's in a good position. You've got the Orianna, who's 106, been involved in a lot of these kills. 4-1 for Artemis as well, who's going to be building towards what I suspect will be the rapid fire here to convert from the energized item on the Storm Rays as well. That's all good stuff. The problem is, in about 3.5 minutes, if you don't win that smite fight, you don't win that fight in the river, the Mountain Soul is going to be such a problem. You're a burst comp into a Mountain Soul shield.
Yeah, so it might be a Serpent's Fang angle, if I'm being honest. But even then, I'm not sure who that would be best on. Maybe Draktharr could be able to pick that one up, but at the end of the day, if it maybe even Camille could probably pick that up. Maybe Taki's going to pick up a little bit of a Serpent's Fang just to get that pop of the initial shield to enable the damage to come through. But still, that's not who you want it on. There is no real champion that is the perfect shield burster.
Taki gets over the wall there and should be all right as it stands. Mountain Dragon, 2.5 minutes away. That is the timer. Bit of a doomsday clock for GAM. Myrwn at 1.5 items. Does need to try and convert that into what I suspect will be the Black Cleaver, if my memory serves on that one. Will be a big deal to get to that if they can help it. Kiaya with a lot of damage there on the Rumble right now. But again, you are the percent HP damage person into a few people building, what do you know, some HP.
Yeah. It never really counts when you see a Rumble at the top of the damage charts, if I'm being honest. So, Jojo doing a really good job there.
That's very true, actually.
Honestly, as like a bit of a takey, like you only
with
have a couple items.
Now, Imperial Mandate as well.
Like, how are you doing more damage than Supa on this Ezreal? So that's a whole other conversation that we'll have to let the analyst break down itself. But still, now that the Baron is this major play, it's a clock, like you said. Soul point is so big for MKOI. Does that go for a flip? Do you maybe trade the Dragon and then go get the Baron instead to accelerate the game? We saw it a couple games ago. Is that a good call?
I mean, that's the thing, right? MKOI have got the catch-22, right? They can go Baron, they can go Dragon. They're happy with either. For GAM, if you get Baron, you give up Soul, and that's like a loss for the scale of the game. If you get the Dragon, it's only second Dragon for you, and you've still got to deal with Baron. Like, it's not anywhere near the same level of win. MKOI, as it stands, though, sitting in the river first, and GAM trying to force the win. Draktharr on a potential flank angle, though, looking to see where he gets in. Jojo will jump towards him with a Justice Punch. Won't quite get what they're looking for there, though.
Nah, just out of range, so really nice. Draktharr able to push back a little bit, but look at the vision control that's starting to come through. You're getting a couple deep wards from MKOI into the back, but they're getting cleaned out. It is really good of GAM. Able to lock it down. You can see the control is just circulating. Eyes on Supa's inventory as well. She just picked up that Spear of Shojin. 3-item Ezreal is very, very potent. Used to be the 2-item spike, still very much is, but that third from the Ezreal these days has been so, so strong. Yeah, but I'm also looking Artemis as well. Rapid fire cannons online. Another cloak has been picked up too. You're looking comfortably at about a 60% crit, so the damage is there. It just comes down to the levels. We're looking at a level 15, almost 16. Well, that's kind of wild, actually. I'm not quite sure how Supa's ended up dropping so much XP. Probably joining his team a little bit more. Again, should tick up to 14 pretty shortly, so it'll be more like 1.5 levels discrepancy. That's still pretty crazy as far as things go. 30 seconds on this Dragon, and MKOI have kind of ceded position in the river. Look, maybe they're sort of taking it back as now. Paranoia goes through, Flash comes out, but there's not much where you can go. Solar Flare is good, it only lands on one, and Alvaro is pretty low. It's enough damage, the Hero's Edge is there, the Flash comes out, Equalizer dropping right on top of that circle. Artemis very happy to play this one back, but a great pick from GAM. It is, and the support is gone. That means you've got the 5v4. You burned a lot to get in there, and I think now MKOI might consider the 4v5 regardless. The thing is, you don't have to take this risk. It's only the one Dragon. They might do it regardless. Yoya's here. He's got the flash. He's got the mobility. And the TP's coming straight in from Jojo, so looking to still make this fight. They are obviously wanting this. A bit of a reset coming out here is a bit interesting from Kiaya. We'll have to see what's going to be the players now. Public execution in the back line is going to be enough. Kiaya is still holding fast. Now it is Galio looking to get that shield off. Jojo can't land it. A lot of damage. Look on the Myrwn trying to keep him alive. Artemis is running. Fourth jump flash. And they get the kill. GAM surviving out. Gloryy goes golden. And he might look for more. Look who's respawned though. Hey, says Leona. This is the Zenith Blade. It's very messy out there. The health bars are precipitously low. But it's still Supa and Yoya popping. Mystic shot claims another skull. And MKOI coming in so big here. They had the disadvantage, but Alvaro came back and just said, we can turn this fight, and they got the Mountain Soul. They do, and you've seen the Nocturne run immediately over to Baron to get some wards down, but it was a close run fight. The knives came out, but the throat that was slit was GAM's. It's a rough place to be in. They've still got the cold lead on paper. The problem is I look at the other side, I look at the
well, not even really intangible, is it? It's a Mountain Soul, but it is still something not in the Goldie. We'll have a look at the replay because it was a close run thing.
Yeah, and it was really good. You can see the proactivity here. They were going for a lot. They got so much out of them, and you said it so well. Once you've spent every single ultimate, what do you really have when you come into the actual fight that needs to be done? And it was GAM saying, maybe we can still contest. It's a numbers advantage. But it is MKOI. They have stood up against BLG. They have done as much as they can here, and they still come out ahead.
And then Elyoya and Supa just get to dance on them. They're the two champions with the mobility, with the extended play. Myrwn full sends it, goes really low, and you saw, actually, this Ambessa's really low. Artemis going to flash for the full start in a second or two. You're thinking, oh man, GAM in a great spot. But look at Draktharr's HP. Look at Kiaya's HP. Hell, now look at Gloryy's HP as Jojo gets a huge chunk onto him. And Alvaro's respawned. He's back, and that means that Supa, who's still got more than enough HP to roll with, Elyoya, who's got the kick up and able to get onto Artemis, who's already burned that flash to bring down the Ambessa, just ran out of tools.
And that one Mystic shot right at the end, just to slay the beast, was absolute magic, and just able to lock in so much more. You're right, gold lead is still in the way of GAM. They still have some control with a lot of these towers taken out. The Paranoia's now come through too, but the rest of the team is not far off. Kiaya's already overheated. Golden again, the zombies now been burst. Solar Flare goes down. They need to pick up one. It's Gloryy who picks it up. The Shockwave's even better. Hextech ultimatum, but it's Gloryy with the double kill.
Gloryy by name, Gloryy by nature. What a pickup. That's the mid jungle down. Baron is up. Sure, you got mounted, so you're still going to try and play out a 3v5 with no smite. GAM finding some light in this game.
Look, and they've still got the gold. It's now flipped back up. It's 2.8. Those catches was enough. The shutdowns were good. Now it is the Baron that is their side, and they need to lock this down. They need to get it so quickly. Supa and Alvaro could make a play. They could make a stand, but it might not be enough. Myrwn also here, but ultimates still down.
They really have got very limited options here. Draktharr's been taken low, but not down. Myrwn stepping in, looking for some damage. Can't quite happen. This will just be the Baron picked, but maybe there's a turnaround. It's got a full send! Equalizer in, the public execution, but Ambessa, I hate to say it, but the sentence is overturned.
It's just too much. I don't know why they were there. I don't know what their plan was, but the Baron was already gone. The kill was just an easy second pick up for GAM, and now they're just gonna walk these waves in, and they're in such a great position. Look at where these waves have actually hit. It's just going to push back and then get a full send forward.
Look, it's been a frantic few minutes. Very intense soul fight. The pick that leads into the Baron. Let's do a little bit of taking stock and seeing where we're at. GAM with about 4,000 gold. They've got a Baron to work with. They can try and accelerate this game beyond the value of the Mountain Soul if they're given the opportunity. You've got 4 items on the Jhin now. That's a big break point in terms of where that passive starts to come online. He's a very different champion once those items come in. Definitely not just being that kind of mosquito build from a few years ago at this point. This has to be a good Baron shove, though. The value needs to be good, or the Mountain Soul value starts to really rocket again.
Yeah, and that's the big part, right? We do see that Lord Doms now being picked up on this Jhin, so Artemis is going to start breaking down these shields, and that's such an important pickup. It is what we need to see. A Serpent's Fang could have been an option, but this is just as good. Now, where does it come onto the rest of the team? As we do see the GA also picked up for Draktharr. The dive potential here is even better, but still, it's Elyoya who's opted to go for the death stand instead, so looking for a bit of the skirmishing instead of the full send.
Well, when we've seen MKOI win, it has been those extended fights. Supa and Elyoya just keeping the damage rolling, and I think they've got the tools for that. I'll also note, again, you've got the Imperial Mandate combo on the Galio. With the changes to Mandate, the cooldowns on your CC abilities, which is basically everything, is next to non-existent. If you get a good full send onto Artemis, onto Gloryy, you will be able to keep them locked down. There won't be a lot they can do about it.
And this is a really good play here from GAM. It's about keeping your numbers. You can see there's 4 up on this top side. Myrwn's the only one up here trying to hold on with 2 super empowered cannons. That is enough artillery to take any tower, especially with Artemis here now doing some damage. But one good public execution can turn the tides.
And the wave clear is a little bit limited from MKOI. I hate to say, you've got to go very short range to make it happen. The Ambessa The Galio need to make the turn.
Paranoia's
It's in there with the
coming in.
Paranoia.
Big shockwave comes in. It's a lot of damage to Solar Flare. Not enough to lock them down. The tower is already gone. Nothing to save you now, but it's just too much. Elyoya has to back out. They're trying to hold on. The resurrection's good. Sending it back in. It's GAM trying to retreat. Drakthar's still here. He's revived. He's back. He's looking for Myrwn. The flash out is good. Alvaro has the shot. The double kill is Artemis taking this game by storm.
The Jhin survives. The flash is superlative. 8-2 and 8. He murders them in the back end of the fight. I thought they'd done it. They're on to the Nexus turrets.
It's the TP in, maybe to get the shield to hold on, but still, Artemis still has the Lord Doms. They just need to hit the tower, hit the Nexus, but it's a lot of damage.
Oh my God.
Artemis able to hold on a little bit longer? They have to back off. It's the only way.
10 seconds on Supa makes this non-starter. Jojo's got TP in 15 seconds. We've got 5 seconds on Elder, and the resets are late.
Oh, that's a big spicy one right there. Elder is up. It's who gets there, who's going to get that early vision and try and maintain control. But this is a close game.
That's one way to put it. We'll have a look at this replay again because GAM go, and you think it's too deep. You think they've gone too far. Myrwn makes Kiaya's life hell. The hero's entrance is good, and you're thinking, hang on, Supa's still available. Yoya's still available. This should be too far. But Artemis survives forever. He takes so many lives before MKOI realized they've just gone too far.
Yeah, that's it. You can see Jojo was so comfortable sitting there with 4 or 5 members trying to do damage. But now we're back at the Elder. It's already started up. And there's the Paranoia. Hero's entrance coming in. It lands on 2. Trying to get the taunt, but it's going to be enough. Drakthar's still so healthy. Elyoya picks up Gloryy. They're looking for more. Taki on the backside trying to take on Supa. It's not enough damage. Kiaya is going to be taken out too. Draktharr can't hold on.
Oh, let's go.
Just too much damage. The triple kill. Elyoya coming in big.
Joya, the captain of MKOI, turns up when it matters. They fumble the fight in the base, but they don't lose the game.
Should be able
they
to.
have no Baron, they don't damn well need it. They're looking for Nexus turrets minimum here. 30 seconds on anyone meaningful. They should have the game.
They could just take this one right here. Right now, it's all she wrote. It was such a flippity-flop fight, but it still was. MKOI able to hold the line, and now sieging at the Nexus. They're going to take game 1, and now they're at series points.
Oh, Paris, are you not entertained? The Elimination Series delivers in game 1.
Oh, my Lord. And
that was closer than expected.
Seeing it's magic.
Either one of those teams could have taken it.
I don't know if I would
Baron
call it
take
magic.
was good. The Goldie was good from GAM, but the Mountain Soul difference, the extended fight